My name is Norma Stanley, and welcome to Disability World. Hello, and welcome to Disability World, where we discuss various topics of interest about the disability community with individuals, leaders, advocates in business, education, politics, entertainment, sports, music, and more. I'm your host, Norma Stanley, and I'll be talking to you today about some news as we enter into the new year. It's January 2024. And as usual, there's so much going on. But a couple of things within the disability community kind of caught my eye, and I want to share that with you and, have just a little bit of a discussion about it. The first one being the situation that I'm pretty sure that most of you have heard about, where Bishop William Barber, who is a civil rights leader and, a clergy person, tried to go to a premiere of The Color Purple in South Carolina and had his own specialized chair because he has a disability that he brought with him. He was also with his 90-year-old mother to be able to see the movie. And they wouldn't let him stay. They actually called the police on him to put him out. And in 2020, this happened in 2023, but this should never have happened. First of all, it's against the law. They were not in compliance with the ADA. I don't see how they could what kind of training could they have possibly given these people for them not to know this? This is basic disability 101. And so now, of course, they're going to be facing some kind of lawsuit. I understand that Bishop Barber has met with the president of AMC Theaters, and they had a good discussion about what happened, but they have a long way to go. Obviously, there's some issues that need to be addressed within the operational standards of that company. I go to the movies all the time, and I tend to go to AMC a lot with my daughter in a wheelchair. I guess this was not a typical wheelchair, but it was still a chair that he carries and has carried for decades, that helps to help him to be comfortable because of his specific disability. And the fact that they wouldn't let him bring in the chair is just amazing to me. It's not a typical wheelchair, but it is a chair that is specialized for his particular disability. So that was something that was a shocker, and still, you hear so many things about how people with disability are treated in various aspects. And, I would think after all this time that things are getting better, but just like it is for everybody else, typical people who do not have disabilities and who don't face some of the challenges families like ours and individuals with disabilities face, that people don't get it. People still don't get it. And because they're not dealing with it, they're oblivious to the challenges and to the requirements and to the accommodations that are necessary for people with disabilities. I can't even imagine that happening to me and my daughter. That has never happened, thank you, Lord. But it's not like there hasn't been situations that we have been in and have gone to that made us uncomfortable, because there were a few of those. But you would just think that things like that would not be happening today. But in so many instances, and this is just one, and the disability community is just one example, but we're going backwards in so many things, not just this particular situation. As a society, we're just going backwards, and that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing at all. There's certain things that should not ever be repeated. And we're supposed to be learning from our mistakes, not wallowing in the mistakes and continuing the mistakes. I'm talking about politically. I'm talking about so many different things historically. Some of the things that they want to bring back. They don't want to deal with the issues. Some people don't want to deal with the reality of where we are today as a multicultural global society. And so, with a diverse society. So it's just, it boggles the mind. It boggles the mind, but it's a new day. And, the bottom line is there's enough of us who have, a voice, who are not going to put up with it, who are going to be very vocal about what we are seeing in our communities and how we are being treated. And we're going to let people know that it's not going to be tolerated. So I like I said, I was appalled when I saw that situation that happened to the bishop. And I just wanted to bring it up and share just a few my thoughts on that situation, because I can't even imagine. He was humiliated, and why did they feel they had to call the police? It just is truly mind-boggling. The sense of insensitivity, just basic human decency, is missing from so many organizations, and I do not know what kind of training they're getting, but hopefully companies like mine can be of assistance in helping to educate them on what they need to be doing, and do it properly so that they don't lose money. Because I was totally ready to stop giving AMC my dollar bill because it's like, excuse me, and it didn't even happen to me. So, that's just something that we just have to be prepared to do. You're not going to get my dollars to oppress me and abuse me. That's just not going to happen. So anyway, that's one of the things that was in the news relatively recently. And, I just thought I wanted to bring it up and share just my little 2 cents on the matter. It's appalling, and it's not going to be accepted, and AMC needs to get their act together, bottom line. Another thing I want to kind of share and talk about today, and again, this is going to be kind of a quick little segment, but one of the things that I've dealt with as a mother of an adult daughter, born with both intellectual and physical disabilities, for whom I'm the primary caregiver, is the challenge of finding people to help, service providers, people to help take care of her and help provide the services that are needed. And it's not just me. This is actually becoming a big challenge for families like mine across the country. And there was an article, a survey actually, that was done by an organization called, I think it's called the American Network of Community Options and Resources, also known as ANCOR. And the survey showed that there's a crisis when it comes to service providers for the disability community. The article says that disability service providers across the nation are cutting back their offerings, turning away new clients, and struggling to maintain quality, and advocates say the situation is poised to get worse. A survey of 581 providers of community-based services to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities shows that nearly all are facing staffing shortages. As a result, 77% of providers say that they are refusing or are no longer accepting referrals, and 44% have discontinued various offerings. Moreover, 60% said that they are considering closing additional programs or services. This was the 4th annual survey. And this organization, Anchor, represents disability service providers from across the country. And it was conducted over a 4-week period beginning in September 2023. And the findings largely illustrate trends that have persisted in recent years as the industry has struggled to attract people to low-paid and difficult direct support professional positions, while less demanding fast food and retail opportunities dangle higher wages. Since providers want to offer better compensation in order to attract more direct support professionals and retain the one they have. But decades of underinvestment in the Medicaid program has left them powerless to raise wages to a competitive level without reducing services and shuttering programs at the same time, said Barbara Merrill, CEO of Encore. We simply can't support people if they lack the qualified staff to do so. This is such a real situation. The article goes on, but that this is something that, like I said, I know that I face. The industry as a whole, at least here in the Georgia space, but obviously it's a national situation. Finding someone and finding people who are trained and who have the heart and who have the ability to take care of people with disabilities, whether it's in your home or in the day program or even in the school system, it's a big challenge. And service providers, as they're saying in this article, are pulling back because they're not funded well, number one, and the people who are providing the services on a day-to-day basis to our family members and to our loved ones are very much underpaid. They're very much underpaid, and they should be, like teachers should be, the highest paid because their work is hard, their work is involved, and their work is also, can be life and death for our loved ones who depend on them to take care of them. And so I do not understand why programs and funding are not more readily available, because that is something that we absolutely need. It's not a want, it's an absolute need for this community. And again, anyone can join this community at any time. So it's not something that is those people. Anybody can become disabled because life happens. You don't necessarily have to be born with a disability. It can still become something that happens to you as a result of a sickness or an accident or whatever. Things happen. And so you can be a part of that community and not know it. And when you do know it, you have to be able to adapt. And the service providers, they're overwhelmed in many cases. And so that's something that has to be addressed as we move into 2024. And I'm hoping to have the people from Encore on the show and have them talk a bit about this survey a little bit more and share some information about what they found and some of the people they interviewed. Because again, this is becoming a crisis. So many things, and I'm not one of those people who deal with fear, and I don't like to talk about things that are scary, like we hear in the news. I mean, if you watch the news these days, you'd never want to get out of bed, but we can't live that way. I tend to focus on the positive wherever possible, but there are certain situations that need to be addressed. And so, and this is one of them in the disability community. As I get older, I just celebrated a birthday in late December. And as my daughter gets older, and my daughter's now in her mid-30s, there are things that there are resources we're going to need for me to be able to take care of her. And as I get older, there are going to be resources I'm going to need just because I'm moving into that senior, elderly, well, not quite elderly, but senior age bracket. And I'm preparing for whatever it is that might be coming. But if the resources aren't there, what do we do? And so those are some of the things that I'm going to be doing some research about and trying to provide information to the community about through Disability World, and just sharing the various aspects of what what's available, what's not available, and what we can do about it as individuals and collectively as a community, so that we, so our community, so our loved ones don't suffer. And so those of us who may find ourselves in those situations don't suffer, because, this world, there's so much focus on things that are not important. I don't watch a lot of television. I don't watch reality TV. There's so many things that people put so much emphasis on that don't add up to a hell of beans, to tell you the truth. I mean, it just, I guess it's escapism for some people, but some of us can't escape our lives. This is our life, and we have to manage it the best way we know how. And some people need more help than others. So those of us who have whatever platforms that we have, whatever ways that we can make impact, we have to do what we have to do. We have to speak up, and we have to bring attention to the things that various people in our community need. And so that's part of my mission with Disability World, and I look forward to bringing, again, more details and more information about this particular issue, this survey, and the information about service providers for in all the various areas, from healthcare, from in-home health, all the various issues and services that are needed. So that's what I want to say on that topic. Again, I could go on and on, but I won't. The next thing that I want to talk about, and like I said, these are just a couple of things that just kind of stuck with me as, these articles and these little news items that came to me as I was preparing to come on the show today and just talk to you a little bit. And they stuck with me because, I've dealt with it myself, and so many people are dealing with it, dealing with these issues, and they fall through the cracks. Again, so many people fall through the cracks, and all these organizations, there's so many organizations who are out here, but a lot of these individuals who are in the grassroots communities can't seem to get the help that they need. I had a situation recently on one of my Facebook pages that talks about parenting children with disabilities or loved ones with disabilities, being a parent or a caregiver, and doing it successfully, or as successfully as possible. It's called Loving, Laughing, Living, Successfully Parenting Children with Disabilities. And one of the questions I asked was, what do you think about the disability community, and what resources are available? And somebody wrote in that nobody cares. And this particular person was a sibling had a sister who he was taking care of, and he just really, he was now the guardian. His parents passed, and he's now the guardian of his sister. And he felt that his sister, that they did not, his family didn't prepare him or plan well for him taking over. He was a self-employed person, and he's doing what he could for his sister. And this was around the holiday season, and but he wasn't getting the help that he needed, and he felt overwhelmed, and that concerned me. It really bothered me, because he was definitely crying out for help, and he lived in a different state. But I had to reach out to him outside of the page to see if there's anything I can do to assist. And I was able to get him some information, in an emergency situation. And Hopefully, things are better now. He did say that things were better, and he had kind of freaked out for a minute, but he was doing a lot better because he had time to think and calm down. And this was right around Christmas. And but again, he felt alone, and he felt that nobody cared, and he felt that he loved his sister, who I believe was older than him, but that she was not independent, and the services that she needed to get, she wasn't really getting. And he was trying to address certain things that she needed and couldn't do it because he's a man and she's a woman, and there's changing of diapers and things that he wasn't comfortable dealing with, and her service providers weren't getting paid, and certain things like that. So it broke my heart. And he said he was able to get some of the situations resolved, and he was doing better. But he's just one of, I'm sure, thousands, if not more, of people who are dealing with that. So that situation, and again, people tend not to think about the siblings who have to take care of their siblings with disabilities. That's a big thing, and you can't really assume that just because somebody is a brother or sister, that they're going to automatically want to take on that challenge. That is something you have to ask them first to make sure that it's something they want to do. And if it's something they don't want to do, it's totally fine. You just have to find something else, another resource for that loved one to be able to live in. And in this particular situation, this young man thought that she'd be better off in a group home, rather than being at home. And so sometimes that has to be an option. But the thing is to research this information way before you need it. Research and find the answers way before you need it, so that you can address those things and have that plan in order and in place, so that you don't, and you or your family members don't find themselves at a loss as to what to do when those situations occur. So anyway, other than that, I'm looking forward to a great 2024. It's going to be a very interesting year, in so many fronts. But it's going to be a great year. It's going to be an eye-opening year. It's going to tell a lot about our country and our world, where our hearts are, or not. But for those of us who tend to believe that God is in control, it's going to be a great year. And I'm one of those people. And so, my assignment is to generate awareness about our community. I'm not on mainstream media, but I'm doing it from the space of a parent who has been a caregiver of an adult who, my daughter, who's now an adult, who wants the best life possible for my daughter and for people like her who cannot talk and who does not have the intellectual capacity to take care of herself. So I've got to make things happen for her that she doesn't have the capacity to do for herself. And in so doing, I want to make sure that, the resources and what she needs are available, and to fight for those things. And that's what we're going to be doing through the voting program, to making sure that, she can vote and I can vote, and, making sure that we touch bases and push our senators and, state legislators to do what needs to be done for our communities. And so, advocacy is proactive. And so that's what we're going to be all about this year is advocating for our community, in all aspects of our lives. And I'm encouraging everyone out there who's listening to advocate. This is a global situation. That people with disabilities all around the world And not everybody has the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, to fall back on. If you're not, outside of the U.S., they don't have that law, but we have it here, and we need to abide by that law. And so, like I said, I wasn't going to keep you long today. I am glad to be back, and looking forward to a great 2024. Looking forward to bringing some amazing new guests, and conversations with individuals and company executives and corporate entities who are doing what they need to do for the disability community, because they know how significant this consumer segment is, and because they want to. So I'm excited about it and looking forward to bringing those shows to you. So again, thank you for being a part of Disability World today, and we look forward to bringing you some new shows very soon. Be blessed.